All right, welcome back everyone to the Athlete's Mind podcast. Just before we get into this episode, this is brought to you by Elite Motion Strength and Conditioning. Whether you're an athlete or someone looking to improve your performance in your sport, hit them up. I'll leave all their information and details down below in the description. They're really great at what they do, and yeah, big thank you to the guys over at Elite Motion for sponsoring us and hopping on board with us, so it's awesome. Now, I'm really excited for this episode. A lot of you MMA fans will be loving this one. We've done a lot of MMA episode this year, but it's been a while since we've actually done a podcast with one of them, so really excited. We have Wes Capper here on the podcast. We know you're a busy man with training and everything, and appreciate you taking the time. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. It's always exciting to come in and talk rubbish with everyone who wants to listen.
For sure, and I'm sure there's a big group out there that will be excited to listen to you here on the podcast. Now, we start every episode the same way. Just get a bit of a background. I'm sure some people would already know, but for those who don't, how did you actually get into fighting? Where'd your journey start with the whole journey of fighting?
I was born and bred in Sydney, in Penrith, New South Wales. I'd started somewhat kind of MMA grappling with a little gym there, and then I moved from Sydney to Geraldton, of all places. Didn't last there very long to go from quite busy, bustling place of Sydney to then go to a little country town in Geraldton. I struggled a little bit. I went to an all-boys school in Sydney, and then I probably struggled a bit more to reintegrate into co-ed society. Just the fact of girls being around, I struggled a little bit. It's just like, anyway, didn't go to school for very long, and then got an apprenticeship doing plumbing. I've always been into getting into a scrap on the weekends. Not that I'm endorsing it, kids. Always keep it in the ring, but I've always had a bit of a rough head on me to go down that path. And then, I ended up leaving Geraldton and coming to Perth and continuing my apprenticeship here. Trained for 3 months here at Mac 1 under Javi Heskey. 3 months, and then I had my first fight against Ramel.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first fight at Belmont Oasis Centre. I was 18, and that's it. The rest has been history. I've been getting punched in the face ever since.
Well, were there any people along, especially the start of your fighting career, telling you not to do it and kind of questioning why are you doing this?
It's probably more so my mother, if anything.
Sure.
Yeah, parents don't really want to see their kids getting hurt, but I was obviously very passionate about it. I had a drive to do it. Definitely a different kind of drive to anything else. I've always been a very sporty, athletic kid, or even as adolescence. I wasn't very academic in that regard. So my passion and my drive and sheer willingness to just put myself into certain positions and situations was just very strong with competing in, some kind of martial art. So I just kind of organically end up going down that path.
And were there any other sports that you played growing up? You did mention that you were very athletic.
I played. I hate the kids play everything. I got kids now, and they want to change every 5 seconds of what they want to do. We just did that last term. What do you want to do? We want to do something different now? I don't know. Footy, soccer, hockey.
But none of them gave them the same passion.
I played a fair bit of AFL, but not the same, because towards the end of, say, my AFL career, I suppose, I was just getting in punch-ups all the time.
Just getting into a fight.
Getting in, not that I was looking for it or trying to, really, it just, if it was there, I was welcoming it with open hands, and that's essentially what happened. So,
Well, I want to know, when you started in the early days of your career, at what point did you kind of know that, okay, I could actually make something out of this, and it went from, just having a bit of fun trying it out to, things are starting to happen, or was it from the get-go, you were like, I want to try and make it big with this?
This is going to sound real corny.
Yeah.
But I was working up in Shark Bay doing the primary school up there as a first-year apprentice. And I came home, so we were on a swing of 2 weeks on, and only have him come back for the weekend. So the guy I was working with was a one-man band. So just him and me, pretty much, just doing our thing. And I came back to Geraldton for the 2-3 days off that I got. And I remember watching Ken Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz, and I watched that fight. And I obviously knew about MMA and competing or whatever else, But I watched that fight, man, and I just literally from there I was like, I want to do that. That looks sick. That's me. I want to try and do that. Like I hadn't really trained heavily in that kind of discipline, or I haven't really been punched in the face really regularly yet. But I just, I seen it, watched it, and I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. And I don't know, just when you make a decision, the kind of universe puts you in the path that you want to go down to. And then that's essentially just what happened. Before I knew it was only a few months later, a few things happened in my life that, put me in a position. I was like, well, shit, I can actually start doing this. And I started doing it and had my first fight, and loved it. And then, yeah, I know probably from the get-go, I've always, from doing it and training it, I just really loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have had, like, obviously fights with not just MMA, but you've done boxing, you've done kickboxing, Muay Thai. In terms of, like, difficulty between, like, obviously they're all hard, but obviously, like, MMA, there's a lot of fundamental, so many different things in MMA. What has been the hardest for you, would you say?
That's a really hard question, and it's situational, and would probably depend on the day you ask me and what kind of session I've had. I'd have to be. There wouldn't be that many people out there that have done the 3 disciplines at such a high level. I don't feel like a dick saying that. Like there wouldn't be that many people out there that have competed or even done quite well in the 3 disciplines. I would say the hardest on your body would definitely be Muay Thai and kickboxing. You could have one round in a Muay Thai fight and you could walk away pretty damn sore, Boxing, probably not so much. I don't know. Body-wise, I feel like kickboxing and Muay Thai is pretty hard on the body. Hard on the brain and head, probably boxing. Just the repetition of the 30, 40, 50% punches, they add up over time. And the overall time management would probably be the MMA, because you have to tick so many boxes and do so many different disciplines to, get yourself equipped enough to compete at a decent level. So they all have their strengths, they all have their downsides. I suppose, like they're all difficult in their own regard, I suppose. But yeah, don't know.
It's hard question. It is hard.
It's just, and like the funniest thing is people are saying it's just fighting. It's not. It's the way, if anyone's trained or competed or even done anything along those lines, to the way that you stand, to the way you go about like setting up shots, to even putting yourself in a defensive position, it's literally 3 different sports.
Yeah.
So it has been difficult at times. Probably the biggest transition was going from Muay Thai to boxing. That was difficult. Just from the way you stand to the way you punch. But it was, it's had its challenges, but I've enjoyed every second of it.
It is interesting because with MMA, like, you really do have to perfect like every area of the sport and be ready for anything, like you said. Because I feel like when like UFC kind of started, in the early days, it was more like, wrestler versus boxer. But now, with the direction the sport has gone, you really have to make sure you've tried your best to perfect every part. So if you have a boxing background, try and work on your wrestling and your grappling.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, there's some outliers out there. Look at Alex Pereira. He can't wrestle for shit.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, but he's got just a phenomenal stand-up game. And even technically speaking, like, I've got nothing bad to say. Like, he's, phenomenal fighter. But technically speaking, if you watch him, how he goes to throw, he doesn't have his hands up whatsoever. He has his hands down near his nipples. And he just kind of defensively, it's kind of a little bit average. But my God,
when he lands,
he hits you and you're dead. Like one punch, kind of, that's pretty special to have that kind of attribute on your side. So yeah, look, and the way things are going now, people are just so well rounded that there's no real, he's a gun at this or he's a gun at that. And people do have certain backgrounds, but I don't know, people are just so well rounded now. People are coming up through the ranks that are just, what's their strength? There is no strength. They're ticking on all the boxes here. There's no real outlier here.
For sure. Now, earlier this year, you did fight on Eternal 82. How was the whole experience going into that fight? Obviously, a really massive event at HBF Stadium. I went to the event. I loved every second of it. Stayed from the prelims to all the way to the main event. How was the camp leading up to that?
Camp was great. Progressing along. Obviously, I hadn't come back to MMA for, it was like 13 years I haven't fought MMA for. So it was good to come back, and it's nice to rub your body up another man. It's good. It was, the camp was good. It's just the weight cut was a little bit average. Didn't set myself up with the best success there, so that probably affected my performance a little bit. But that's a me problem, not a you problem. I'm a fat kid at heart, plus I'm getting a little bit older, so trying to get those skinniness down is a little bit challenging. But yeah, always trying to evolve and improve. So this one round will correct that and hand out another licking.
For sure. Yeah, I did actually want to ask you a bit about the weight cut, because at the fight, your speech that you gave after the fight, I thought that was like really good about how you spoke about weight cutting and how you kind of targeted to the younger guys that might be fighting, and how to properly deal with a weight cut and how to do it in a safe way and a healthy way. With your weight cut leading up to that fight, obviously you said it was pretty challenging getting down to the weight, obviously.
Yeah.
How much would you urge like younger people to really make sure they know what they're doing with the weight cut?
I think it comes down to the gym you're at and the culture and the energy that they have there about weight cutting. Depending on where you go and where you train and who you're under, everyone seems to be an expert. But if you ask majority of the people that are leading it, they've never cut weight in their life, man. They've never put their body through those situations. So for them, I would say shut up and just stay in your lane. But I think it is literally the difference between you having a good performance and a bad performance. And not only a bad performance, you are literally risking your health. And I'm not even trying to say that lightly. The handful of times I can think off the top of my head, the closest I've ever been to death, two of them have been inside a sauna. You know what I mean? And I'm not even trying to dramatize that. I'm not trying to glorify it. I'm not trying to do any of that whatsoever. I'm trying to bring awareness that it is very dangerous and it is not worth the hassle and even the health complications that come along with you trying to push the envelope there. And I say that, and I'm still doing it now. And it's only because I've been doing it for so long. You do it a few times, you think you do it again, but it catches up with you. So either go to a higher weight class or pull your finger out and don't be a fat kid early on. Try and start your cut a little bit earlier, start a camp, and make the end run a little bit nicer for you. Hey, look, it's easier said than done, but yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, just be careful out there.
It's pretty overlooked as well, especially fans of the sport that haven't competed or haven't even stepped inside a MMA gym or whatever. Like, I feel like people don't actually know how hard it actually is to cut the weight and how dangerous it can be. So you're
literally cooking yourself.
Yeah,
you're literally cooking the inside of your body, and you are depleting so much minerals and just life out of you. And then not even 24 hours later, you're trying to jump in there willingly and go into hand-to-hand combat with another man. That's one, within itself is challenging, but two, putting your body through that and then expecting yourself to perform at a high level is, a lot to ask sometimes.
Definitely. Now, pretty much straight after that Eternal 82 fight, in about, I think it was like a 3-week turnaround, you did fight on the Gathering boxing event in Adelaide.
Yep.
How was that whole experience? It was pretty cool. I'm sure I can imagine.
Yeah, the setup there was insane. That's probably one of the biggest promotional production setups that I've fought on for quite a very, very long time. They had Stan TV involved. Everyone had their own little kind of TV crew, and they did a little segment on each and every fighter and little highlight reels, and it was pretty cool. But obviously they had a big backing and big big pockets because of the AFL guys and the football crew. So hey, look, money talks. But yeah, that was awesome to be a part of. Good experience to be a part of. Good event. Yeah, came to a draw, but I thought we well and truly didn't have to get the win. But hey, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some, and some you just get a little robbed. But that is what it is.
100%. Did you meet any any of the AFL guys?
Yeah, pretty much. I met all of them that fought on the card because we're all out in the back of the change rooms together. Everyone was warming up, and even at the press conference, they're all super nice guys. None of them are fighters, so there's no real egos there in that regard. you just forget just how big some of the AFL guys are, especially like Rocker. I looked at Rocker, man. He's huge, man.
Yeah,
such a big dude. But it was a good experience.
Yeah, nice. Now, I really wanted to speak about your gym, the Barn Martial Arts Fitness. I'm sure. How long have you been running the Barn?
5 and a bit years now.
5 and a bit years. Yeah, nice. Now, I'm sure like that would have almost given you like a new purpose with kind of passing on what you know to the people that are coming into your gym with learning MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, whatever it may be. How has that whole experience been, and has that really given you a new purpose, would you say?
Yeah, I'm obviously, I don't know, I'm passionate about it. It's what I enjoy. I'm a plumber by trade, not a very good one, and I just don't like doing it. So, I was at a crossroad where I'd been living overseas and fighting in America for quite a few years, and the contract had come to an end, and then I came home, and then, I was just at a different stage of my life, man. I'm not in my early 20s or mid-20s. I was, pushing 30, and, I have a missus, and then we want to have a family, and you need to be able to support that family. So what I want to support that family with, I don't know, something that I like doing, and a lot of people out in this world don't have the luxury of that. They don't have the luxury of being able to choose something that they really love and really enjoy and do it. And I'm super grateful about that. So I bit the bullet and started the gym, and it's been 5 and a bit years ever since. And it's not a chore for me to go up each day. I like going there. I like helping people. I like training people. I like helping kids, especially kids that are getting bullied. I got a lot of kids down there there's a lot of, kids that have some self-esteem issues. I'm all for it. I'm all for handing on or passing on things that may or may not have helped me, and I can maybe help someone else along the way. So it's nice.
That's awesome. It seems like you have a pretty good balance at the gym, like whether people are coming in for fitness reasons or actually, I'm sure you've had a few that have come in that actually want to compete.
Yeah, I've got a fair few that want to compete. I'm just not at a stage now where I want to take on as or coach people in that regard, just because I've said it so many times before, where it's a selfish sport. You're putting so much time and effort into yourself, and I'm still competing myself, and you're not just a coach to some of these people. You end up being a therapist. You're their shoulder to cry on. You're their nutritionist. You wear so many hats, and I don't want to do that half-hearted, because I know how much time and effort other people have put into me early on to get me to where I need to be, and that they didn't do that half-hearted, so I'm not in a position right now, since I'm still competing. Once I stop competing, I'm pretty keen on chucking some people in there and seeing how they go.
Nice. And I'm curious to know, because obviously you're very, very busy with training work and running the gym. What does a usual week schedule look like for you from Monday to Sunday? Even spending time with the family, I'm sure it's quite hard to balance all that.
It's all over the place. So everything, obviously the gym's a bit of a split shift thing. So it's early starts till kind of a mid-morning, and then a few hours off throughout the day, and then I'm back there from kind of late afternoon to late evening. So it has its pros and its cons. I obviously miss out on a lot of family time in some of those peak times. I'm not really home for dinner with my family, which I'm not saying poor me, but you always want what you don't have, and I don't have that in a lot of aspects. So sometimes I sit there and I go, oh man, I wish I could be at home sometimes. But it's just a constant juggling act at this current stage, just trying to fit things in where I can, when I can. I can't train super regimented like I used to be able to, but that's okay, and that's life. Everything comes at a price, so I try and train when I can, as hard as I can, and if I miss sessions, I try not to get too upset or too beat up, because that comes at a price. So if I miss a session, that means I get to spend more time with my family or with my kids, and I don't get that time back, and that's just the point of I'm at with my life right now. As much as I want to fight and still compete, and I really love it and still enjoy it, I still want to be a half decent dad, and I still want to be a half decent partner and husband and businessman. I'm trying to juggle a lot of hats, but I'll keep trying to improve as I go along. So how does each day look? Man, it's all over the place. It's I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's all over the place. It's not very original. It's not very, I'm here. So, hey, just fly by the seat of your pants kind of shit.
Yeah. That does bring me to our next question. Actually, you kind of did touch on it there. Is there a specific, time or, year where you're looking, that's when I'm going to maybe like hang it up and move on to...
No, I'm just going to go on how I feel. The only reason why I came back to MMA is because I was getting a little bit stale with the boxing, and I'd been screwed over a little bit with, some managerial things and bits and pieces. And plus, like I said, I started a family and business, so my attention has shifted elsewhere. But I'd pretty much gone and did a training session just willy-nilly. I was like so unfit. I was out of shape. I was definitely a little bit overweight from, say, my weight class, And I just went down and trained just off the cuff with a few guys a few years ago. They said, I'll come down and do a little session with us, And I did. And I pieced a lot of them up that are top contenders. And I went, man,
got to get in there.
I still got this shit. I can still roll with the guys. And that's where I'm at now, where some of the young blokes, depending on what discipline I'm doing, they'll put it on me, and I've got experience in that regard. But the biggest thing that is coming to fruition as of late is I just can't back it up. Where, I mean that in the sense of, I can do a hard session, say today, but I just can't regenerate and recuperate to do it again the next day, where some of these other guys, they can do that, and that's the beauty of youth. So I can still hang and, if they are young, if they put it on me, yeah, sweet, no, let's rock and roll. But I just need to have a couple of days, where I manage myself body wise to be able to back that up and do that again. So, yeah, I don't know, just I'm going to do it until I just don't feel like I can do it anymore. Yeah. And I'm doing it right at the moment. So
yeah, keep
lining them up, and I'll keep knocking them down.
Nice. Now, your next fight is on Eternal 85, taking on David Martinez.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah. So, what's your prep kind of looking like going into that fight? That one is in Perth again.
That's in Perth again. He's obviously a bit more of a wrestler. Been a champ a couple of times before. He's very well credentialed. I didn't have to be a rocket scientist to know that he's going to try and take me down, and I'm probably going to try and stand. That's pretty much it. Just punch and sprawl and put him to sleep.
Yeah. I do want to ask, though, because that fight is in Perth at HBF Stadium again. What is the atmosphere like at HBF? Because I've looked at some of the other crowds that Eternal, over in Brisbane or whatever, wherever it may be, but HBF just looks like it's another level with that.
It's a wicked venue, man. They really have done quite well with just the whole setup there. There's no real bad seat in the house. I reckon some of the generals have the best seats, to be honest, with that whole teardrop rising up. Yeah, great venue, great setup. I haven't really seen much of what they've done in Sydney and other places, but yeah, like you said, the atmosphere is always good, and it's always more enjoyable when you have a horse in the race. So when you know someone that's in there and you know someone that's competing, it's a lot more enjoyable and exciting when you're watching, because you're like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. And I obviously have the gym, so I get a few people down there. So that adds an element of stress and somewhat a bit more nervousness, I suppose, because I'm like, oh God, there's a lot of people watching, and I'm, and I don't really care. Everyone makes mistakes. That's the whole reason. Yeah, the whole reason why you do it is to try and get better and put yourself out there and hope for the best. So
yeah, well, I was actually going to say, I noticed when you did your walkout and when you were fighting, you had a massive support group in the crowd. You're wearing your shirt, team captain. Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's a nice feeling, just have the support that's there. It's makes you probably compete a little bit harder and get out there and get after a bit more. A few more people watching and expecting good things from you. So yeah. Hey, like I said, that comes with the stress as well. So
for sure,
hopefully they don't lose too many memberships if I lose,
Now we're going to go on to some of our mental and personal questions. We like to finish our episodes with these. The first one we have for you is, with all the people you look up to for advice, who would you say your biggest supporter is? Now, especially with the MMA athletes I interview on here, this always seems to be a very tricky question, because there's so many people that help you along your journey. But who would you say has been, even if you want to name a few, who's been your biggest supporter along your journey?
I'd say as of late, probably my wife, because it's just a different element now with kids and the business and stuff. So as boring as that sounds, young kiddies out there, I wouldn't be able to keep doing what I'm doing and enjoying it and having it somewhat semi-stress free with the preparation if it wasn't for my wife willing to pick up a lot of the slack of where I fall down in when I'm in camp. If you want to talk about, training, just even people that I just love their aura they bring to me, it'd be probably one of my mates, Nick. He's been around me from day dot. He's helped me more than I could ever imagine or even explain to you, just even with mental capacity and strength. I look at early on days, not that he was setting anything up, but just really putting me in the right position mentally to make decisions that could take you left or right. So that's a hard one, man. There's so many people out there that have helped me get to where I am, but probably as of right now, probably those two.
Nice, yeah. What about Justin Lacey? Like, I've done some filming with him as well, and I see him. He's been in your corner. For
Justin's OG, man. If there's any kids out there, like, listen, if you're looking at me on here, hey, if you want to box, you need to go to Lacey's. Like, he's just such, like, I don't know how to explain to you. The amount of time and effort that it takes to be a half-decent coach, it drains so much of your energy, and he just gives everybody his energy. He gives everybody his time. He goes away all the time on the weekends. He misses so much time with his family because he's willing to invest that into his fighters, and that takes a special person. So, yeah, look, Lacey is... I've been with Lacey for like 6-7 years now. So he's like OG in my regard. He's top guy.
Yeah,
awesome. One of the best coaches. He is, I've got nothing bad to say about him. Super nice guy.
Now, this next question we have is a mental question, and it's, are there ever times where you have experienced mental burnout? So what I mean by that is when you're training, whether it's leading up to a fight, has there ever been times where you're kind of feeling, oh, geez, it's getting pretty tough? And if you have dealt with that, what are some things you've implemented to kind of better deal with that mental burnout?
I think it happens all the time, and people probably don't even realize it half the time. The biggest thing that I would say to anybody is put your phone down, turn it off, go away from it, and go away from it for a day. But you can't do that.
Yeah, people can't do that.
You can't do that. So I had a bit of a situation, like not super stressed out. I just had a lot going on and had a bit of a hard, unsuccessful training camp situation for a few days. Had a few days where I was a bit off. I wasn't competing or even training. I know to the best of my ability, and I don't know. Kids were not sleeping that well, and felt like throwing them in the bin, and the life, and it depends on the person, but I just left my phone at home and I went up to the Kalamunda Hills and just went for a walk for half the day and just had some time just to myself and nothing. I don't know, it was super refreshing just to take. I didn't take any food with me, just took some water, just super basics necessity to keep me alive, and just went out for half the day and just went for a walk just by myself. There's nothing more, I think therapeutic in being with your own thoughts, and nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to be stimulated and wants to be, constantly looking or watching something. I think there's a lot of merit and health benefits to just being with yourself, and I think that takes almost a special person as of these days, because nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants to be stimulated, and I'm the same with that as well. I'm picking up my phone every 5 seconds. So I don't know. For right now, I would say, get rid of the technology just for a little bit and just be with yourself. Go for a walk somewhere. I like going for a walk somewhere. Go for a skydive. I like going skydiving. I just get rid of my phone and go skydiving for the day and jump out of a plane. I obviously like the adrenaline rush. That's therapeutic to me. I like doing that. People might like going fishing. Go find something you like doing and just being by yourself and having that conversation with yourself. The biggest way to earn respect is to have those conversations with yourself. Instead of a device, I suppose. Yeah,
it's the most important thing. Now, the last one we do have for you is, what motivates you to keep going and fighting and showing up every day when things, do get hard? What's that thing in the back of your mind that just pushes you that extra mile in training?
Oh, I can tell you that right now. Not every day is guaranteed. So I can't do this forever, and I know that, and it's coming to a close and an end for me, and that'll be a sad day for me because I've dedicated so much of my time, most of my life, to competing and doing this art. It's, that's the biggest thing. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, and I know that sounds super cliche, but it's not. I want to try and get after it for as long as I can, when I can, and enjoy it. I'm still enjoying it. So that's my biggest thing. If you're not enjoying it, don't do it. I'm still enjoying. It's the journey for me. It's not necessarily the destination. Yes, fighting is fantastic and it has its, accolades along with it. But for me, the biggest thing I'm going to miss when it's all said and done is it's going to be the journey. Like, I'm leaving here now to go train, and it's the hard sessions, it's the good sessions, it's the bad sessions, it's the little bit of the weight cutting. Not that I overly enjoy it, but or the camaraderie that you have with team members, the sessions that you build and you bond with people over those sessions. There's something special about sharing a ring and punching people in the face that many times during a camp. There's a bit of a bond there you have, or even just rolling on the ground with each other, Yeah, that'd be the biggest motivator for me, is I know that I can't do it forever. Not every day is guaranteed. Get out there and get after it, because you'll blink and you won't be doing it no more. And that's more aspects of life than you would ever realize.
Love that. Now, just quickly before you do go, what advice would you actually give to young people who want to get into the sport, even want to compete? Like, what do you kind of tell people that come to your gym, maybe, that come to you and say, I want to fight, or I want to.
Oh, this is a really good one. This has actually come up as of late. I've said this on my little gym story. I've got some young blokes at the gym now that are trained pretty hard, and they're going all right, and I know they want to compete. They haven't said much to me, but I know they're putting the work in. They go down there and compete, and they just expect everything to be given to them. It's not going to be given to you. It's not an aspect of you training for 5 seconds and you're going to have mad skills. This takes so much time, man, and literal blood, sweat, and tears. And if you're not willing to put in that time and effort and put your body through those situations, go find something else to do. Don't waste your time, and don't waste anybody else's time. I know the concept of fighting is cool and very, drawing to a lot of young males or even females, but it takes a special person to continually keep putting their body through those situations. So, hey, you can only go out there and try it. If you enjoy it, see how you go, but it's not given to you. It is earned, and you got to get out there and earn it. And it takes time. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a few tears. It takes a lot of blood, maybe a couple of broken bones. Hey, it's not for everyone. Go play golf if you want to play golf. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You got to make a lot of sacrifices.
Correct, a lot of sacrifices. And if you're not willing to do that and not willing to put in the time, I would highly recommend you not do that, because it's not like anything else. You don't play fighting. You can get very, very hurt, and it's not for everybody. So many people talk a tough game prior to going to compete, and then I see it all the time. People come in and say, I want to compete, or I want to fight, or whatever. And they do their first 1 or 2 sparring sessions, and you never see them again. Yeah. And that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not talking down or giving those people a hard time whatsoever, but it's not for everybody. As much as you feel like you can do it, I would suggest you come get punched in the face first, put yourself through some hard sessions, and let's see what you got. But until then, hey, get out there, get after it, see how you go.
Yeah, getting hit the first time in your sparring session, that's like a pretty...
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
It's like a pretty big, what's the word? Like, decider of whether you come back or not, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you can see it in people's eyes, whether they break or they, whether they fold or rise to the occasion, And I think that stems from people's backgrounds, or, the person you are right now is the things you've done previously in your past, that's helped you get to where you are now. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We know that you're a very, very busy man with all the training. So thank you for taking the time, Wes.
Thanks for having me on. I hope to see you guys down there at Eternal. Let's get after it.
Thank you guys for watching. Also, check out Elite Motion Strength and Conditioning. Link will be down below. And follow us on the socials. And don't forget to follow Wes and the rest of his journey. Big things coming, I'm sure. Thank you all. Catch you in the next episode.